The Roman Empire was built on the strength of its legions, yet one of its most famous armies, the Ninth Legion, suddenly vanished from history. How could thousands of well-trained soldiers simply disappear without a trace? What secrets still lie hidden behind the silence of Rome's lost warriors? Before we uncover the mystery, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Best of History and Mythology. Leave a like and activate the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming stories from history and mythology. The Ninth Legion, known as Legio IX Hispana, earned its fame as one of the most battle-hardened formations of the Roman army. Forged during the turbulent campaigns of Julius Caesar in Gaul, it carried with it a legacy of victories that shaped the rise of Roman power in Western Europe. The legion's title, Hispana, was not a decoration, but a mark of its triumphs in Spain, where it played a decisive role in securing Roman control over the Iberian Peninsula. This reputation as a conquering force followed the legion wherever it marched, making its name synonymous with discipline, endurance, and the expansion of the empire. To the people of Rome, the Ninth was not just another military unit. It was a symbol of authority, proof of Rome's ability to project power far beyond the Mediterranean. Citizens would hear stories of soldiers clad in gleaming armor, carrying their iconic Roman eagle standard, advancing in precise formation. These tales were more than propaganda. They were a reflection of how the legion embodied the Roman way of war, combining unmatched organization with relentless determination. The Ninth's soldiers were not raw recruits. Many were veterans of brutal conflicts in distant provinces, men who had survived harsh winters, long marches, and the clash of steel against determined enemies. They represented the ideal of the Roman legionary, disciplined in the camp, fearless on the battlefield, and loyal to the command structure that made Rome invincible. This combination of personal resilience and collective unity set the Ninth apart, ensuring its place among the most respected legions in imperial history. As the Roman Empire pushed into new territories, Legio IX Hispana carried with it the promise of order and Roman civilization. Where it settled, roads, fortresses, and towns followed, leaving permanent marks on conquered lands. The legion was both sword and foundation, clearing the path for governors, merchants, and settlers who expanded the empire's influence. Its presence was more than military. It was a declaration that Rome had arrived to stay. By the early 2nd century AD, the Ninth Legion was stationed at Iberacum, the Roman military base that later became the city of York. From this strategic fortress, Rome tried to control the wild frontier of Britannia, where tribal resistance never truly ended. Beyond the walls and roads lay the rugged lands of Caledonia, a region of dense forests, treacherous hills, and warrior tribes determined to keep their independence. When orders came for the Ninth to march north, it was not simply a patrol. It was a test of Roman strength against a land that refused to be tamed. The march into Caledonia carried enormous risk. Roman scouts reported shifting alliances among the tribes, ambushes in narrow passes, and sudden raids that struck at supply lines. To advance into these hostile territories meant leaving behind the relative safety of stone fortresses and marching into a wilderness where the terrain itself could become an enemy. The soldiers of the Ninth were trained for war, but even the most disciplined legionary understood that in Caledonia, numbers and armor did not guarantee survival. As the legion pushed northward, the tension between empire and resistance reached a breaking point. The tribes of the highlands, often underestimated by Rome, fought with relentless ferocity and intimate knowledge of their homeland. In the mist and shadow of the northern frontier, the Ninth faced an opponent unlike the organized enemies of the Mediterranean world. Here, battles were not always fought in open fields. Instead, sudden attacks from hidden warriors, night raids on marching camps, and relentless pressure threatened to erode the cohesion that defined Roman warfare. For centuries, whispers have suggested that this campaign ended in catastrophe. A legion that had once carried Rome's pride into distant lands may have found itself isolated in hostile terrain, far from reinforcements, surrounded by enemies who knew every path and river crossing. Whether by ambush, prolonged siege, or the slow destruction of its supply lines, the Ninth may have met its fate in the wild north, its standard lost and its name erased from the living memory of Britain. Do you think the Ninth Legion truly vanished in the wild north of Britain? Or could Rome have hidden the truth to protect its reputation? Share your thoughts in the comments. The disappearance of the Ninth Legion has produced one of the most enduring debates in Roman history. Some scholars argue that the legion was annihilated in Britain, falling victim to a large-scale uprising that erased its presence from the island. Others believe the Ninth was transferred to the continent, only to meet its fate in distant wars where records were fragmentary or deliberately obscured. Each theory reflects both the uncertainty of ancient sources and the complexity of Rome's military machine. One possible explanation places the destruction of the Ninth in the turbulent lands of Germania. The tribes along the Rhine and Danube were fierce adversaries, and several revolts in the 2nd century created dangerous conditions for any legion sent to suppress them. In such hostile regions, entire units could vanish in bloody defeats, with the empire choosing silence rather than public acknowledgement of failure. The lack of detailed chronicles makes it difficult to confirm, but the theory remains strong among those who trace gaps in military records. Another perspective connects the fate of the Ninth to the eastern campaigns of Rome, particularly against the Parthian Empire. If the legion was redeployed to Asia Minor or Mesopotamia, it may have faced opponents skilled in cavalry warfare, archery, and sudden desert ambushes. Defeat in such a theater could explain the legion's disappearance, as Rome was often reluctant to record humiliating losses against Eastern powers. Archaeological fragments found in the region have led some researchers to suggest that at least part of the Ninth continued its service far from Britain. There is also the possibility of gradual disbandment, rather than a single catastrophic event. A legion could be reduced by attrition, absorbed into other units, or quietly erased from official roles. This scenario suggests that the Ninth did not vanish in one dramatic moment, but instead faded into obscurity as its veterans were reassigned and its legacy diminished. Such an outcome would explain why no single battle or inscription marks its end, leaving only silence where the proud name of Legio IX Hispana once stood. If you are fascinated by these mysteries, support Best of History and Mythology by subscribing, leaving a like, and ringing the bell so you will never miss our next deep dive into the secrets of the past. As centuries passed, the silence around the Ninth Legion gave rise to stories that blurred the line between fact and legend. Medieval writers imagined an army swallowed by the northern mists, a force lost in cursed lands where no Roman dared return. These accounts transformed the legion's disappearance into a tale of doom, elevating its fate from a historical puzzle to a myth that spoke of the limits of empire and the mystery of untamed frontiers. In later traditions, the Ninth became a symbol of defiance against Rome's might. The tribes of the north, remembered for their courage and resistance, were credited with destroying an entire Roman army, a narrative that gave pride to local memory and fear to imperial imagination. The idea that disciplined legionaries could vanish without trace inspired awe, suggesting that even the world's greatest military power was not invincible. Modern culture has embraced this enigma with fascination. Novels and films brought the legend of the Lost Legion to new audiences, often portraying it as a tragic brotherhood betrayed by destiny. These interpretations may not align with archaeological findings, but they reveal how myth can shape historical perception. For many, the Ninth is no longer just a military unit. It is an enduring reminder of the fragility of human ambition and the mysteries that history leaves unsolved. What do you believe is stronger, the historical truth of the Ninth Legion or the myth and legend that surround its disappearance? Let us know in the comments below. Archaeological discoveries have begun to reshape the understanding of the Ninth Legion's fate. Inscriptions unearthed in Nijmegen in the Netherlands suggest that part of the Legion may have been transferred from Britain and stationed there decades after its supposed destruction. This evidence challenges the idea of total annihilation in the northern frontier and points to a more complex story of survival, movement, and eventual disappearance. Rather than vanishing in a single battle, the Ninth could have been scattered across different provinces of the Empire, its identity gradually absorbed into new formations. Some historians believe that fragments of the Legion might have reached the eastern provinces, serving in campaigns along the volatile border with the Parthian Empire. The survival of the Legion's name in isolated inscriptions hints at a continued presence in the military system, though not as the proud and unified force it once was. This possibility suggests that the Ninth did not fall to barbarian ambushes in Britain, but instead slipped quietly into obscurity, its legacy erased not by defeat alone, but by the slow erosion of memory. The most compelling twist is that Rome itself may have contributed to the disappearance. Legions were symbols of imperial power, and their destruction or disbandment could be politically inconvenient. By transferring veterans, renaming units, and rewriting military records, the Empire had the ability to reshape history. In this light, the Ninth's fate was not only a matter of battlefield losses, but also of deliberate omission. Its story reveals not just the vulnerability of armies, but the power of Rome to control what was remembered and what was forgotten. History leaves us with mysteries, but together we keep them alive. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video here on Best of History and Mythology.